I'm similar to the Thriller in Manila. Honeys call me bigger, the condom filler. Whether it's stiff tongue or stiff dick, Biggie squeeze it to make shit fit. Now check this shit, I got the pack of Rough Riders in the back of the Pathfinder. You know the epilogue by James Todd Smith. I get swift with the lyrical gift. Hit you with the dick, make your kidney shift. Here we go, but I'm not domino. I got the funk flow to make your drawers drop slow. So recognize the dick size in these Coincatch jeans. I wear 13s, know what I mean? I fuck around and hit you with the Hennessy dick. Mess around and go blind, don't get to see shit. The next batter, here to shatter your blatter, it doesn't matter. Skinny or fat or light skinned or black, baby, I drop these. Beneath my me, screaming, I poppy. I love it when they call me Big Pop, but I only smoke blunts if they roll prop. But look, I got ya caught up with the drunk flow. Fuck taekwondo, I told a fofo. For niggas getting mad cause they bitch chose me. A big black motherfucker with G. You see, all I do is separate the game from the truth. Big bang boots from the Bronx to Bolivia. Getting physical like Olivia Newt. Tricks up my click dick all day with no trivia. So give me a bankroll and a bag of weed. I'm guaranteed to fuck her till her nose bleed. Even if your new man's a certified Mac, you get that H-Town in ya. You want that old thing back? B-I-double-T-I-E with some new R-U-L-E. Notorious, known for busting in your E-Y-E. Baby, baby, bitches know they love to hate me. How come you come with coming back to maybe? How close we came to coming together is crazy. How come you and your sis make similar faces? When y'all coming, y'all be crying like I'm killing y'all bitches. I know there's a bigger picture than the camera roll. Cause I don't think y'all be knowing how this shit's unfolding. Back shots to the rear, got the Mac unloading. Gotta reload like every so often. Saying I got my swagger back. I'm looking like bitch, my swagger never left. Don't be so hard pressed to be impressed by these new rappers. They actors and the fact is, you want that old thing back. Scarface and Bushwick, Willie D, having nightmares of girls killing me. She mad because what we had didn't last. I'm glad because her cousin let me hit the ass. Fuck the past, let's dwell on the 500 SL, the E and J and ginger ale. The way my pockets swell to the rim with Benjamins. Another hunt's in the crib, please send her in. I fuck non-stop, lick my lips a lot. Used to lick the clips a lot, but licking clips has to stop. Cause y'all don't know how to act when the tongue go down below. Peep the funk flow, really go. I got the cleanest, meanest penis. You never seen this, stroke of genius. So take off your Tim boots and your bodysuit. I mean the spandex, and hit my man next. Sex get rougher when they come to the nut buster. Pussy crusher, black nasty motherfucker. I don't chase them, I replace them. And if I'm caressing them, I'm undressing them. Fuck what you heard, who's the best in New York? Fulfilling fantasies without that nigga Mr. Raw. Or tattoo, I got you wrapped around my dick. And when I'm done, I got the split shit.
What's up, everybody? Nice to see you here and happy Wednesday. Today I've got Cole's trading on. He's kind of newer in the space, been trading for a couple years. I think 2 or 3 years as we discussed. But real quick, let me unmute him for the rest of you guys. Also, it's just someone that I've been following for a little while. Great lower time frame trader. Really like following what he does in the space. Kind of an opposing strategy to me where I'm more of a swing trader looking at the daily and 4 hour. He's mostly looking at the 1 hour. Kind of really cool. We get to hear something new and learn something new. So Cole, how you doing?
Hey man, appreciate it. Doing well.
Awesome. By the way, I think we forgot to talk about this earlier. If you want to share your screen, I can put it up on my screen as well. So
we could just keep the microphone. I'll watch yours too, and I'll just look at mine.
Sure. Like I said, if you want to, I think it's down at the bottom, but all is fine. I can pull up whatever you need. So where did we leave off? We were talking about let's start with this. So we were talking about Bitcoin's daily. Big thing here for a lot of you guys that have been following me. You know I love double bottoms. A lot of my patrons, you guys know I love double bottoms. Ended up getting this just nasty deviating move. Just honestly pretty painful. I know you and I were both long. We ended up watching it, getting stopped, and then just bouncing immediately.
Yeah, dude. I mean, that was brutal. I had it looking good for 4-hour bullish dips, and then got stopped out and invalidated it. And it was just one of those ones I knew it was just gonna go off.
It was just gonna go off.
Just
exactly.
Happens. It happens.
You even have. I know you like following the 1 hour, so I have the 1 hour pulled up, and I'm sure you saw those divergences on the 1 hour. Maybe even after the fact or later at night. It's just brutal because you see them, you're like, oh, we'll probably just get like a normal move, and it ended up just turning into a pretty large 10% bounce almost immediately. I mean,
yeah,
especially
this is one of the tricky ones. Is like I caught that initial first 1 hour bearish dips. I caught that, and then I closed it actually right at the bottom. I really just it was late night, and I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna close it and go to bed. Good enough for me. But like, this is one of those ones that just keeps going. I mean, we still have. I mean, I guess it's kind of invalidated now, but we had it for a little while. It's just one of those ones where you know how it goes. Sometimes where you'll have it and it just keeps going, but it's still forming those divs. But yeah, I mean, right now it's kind of in a weird spot. Like it could potentially form some bullish here shortly in the 1 hour, but it also could just dump. I mean, it's just weird. We're holding above so many good support levels right now, so I wouldn't be shocked if we see 69, 70,000 in the near future.
Yeah, I'm on the same page. So personally, I think pullback. A lot of that has to do with just how the 1 and 4 hour look. I posted this morning as well. Tether dominance. I don't know if you use it. Do you use the tether dominance chart at all?
No, I try to like keep up with that and Bitcoin dominance and stuff like that, but I just since I don't trade alts, I don't really pay attention to all of it much. But I need to get into Tether more.
So Tether basically runs the opposite of Bitcoin, but we have a little bit of a discrepancy. And actually, just for your sake, I'll share my screen in live. I'll share my screen in real time for you. That way you don't have the stream delay. So essentially, Tether dominance, and I'm going to pull it up on the side by side here. And for those of you wondering, I'm basically explaining the analysis from earlier this morning. So I open up Tether dominance on the 4 hour, and this is where things get really interesting. Generally, Tether dominance and Bitcoin run hand in hand. There's usually like confluence between the two charts, meaning if Tether pumps, Bitcoin dumps. So this is where it's pretty funny. On Bitcoin's 4 hour, there's actually no divergences, but on Tether dominance, there are. And I don't know if you can see the two mouse movements going, even all of you watching, but Tether dominance has it very clearly here, right? Bitcoin doesn't. And that makes me wonder which one's going to trigger. But if you start looking at Bitcoin's 1 hour, we have several. Could run into like this downward consolidation to break out, but I don't know. I'm still on the page that we're going to see a move downward. I know a lot of this is being led by perps too. I know you don't look at a lot of data like that, but a lot of this isn't being led by spot, which is kind of scary if you're long-term bullish. Not necessarily scary, but at least the move itself on the daily, it's not as sustainable.
Yeah, I mean, I will say the one thing that has been nice to see is I feel like the volume has looked better on this move than it has in the previous ones. Um, but I like for the last couple weeks, I've had the impression that this was gonna happen, but it was gonna be more of like kind of a bull trap to 69, 70 area and then come right back down. And as much as everyone wants to get out of this range and just stop like and finally go back up or something like I wouldn't shock me if we just freaking bull trap at this and just continue back down, but I also like how everything's looking. But I think that 70K wall, if we get there, I think it's going to be tough to go higher than that.
Yeah, I would agree with you, and I do like the volume as well. I was explaining this morning that we actually do have bullish price action here. Volume's increasing with price increasing. It shows a lot of buying interest. We also have, unfortunately, the double bottom. Unfortunately, I was literally long at the bottom before we deviated. We were actually talking about this before the live stream and or before we started this live stream. And for those of you that don't know, unless you're a patron, I don't really share my trades. A lot of that has to do with, I know a lot of you guys really like leverage and you don't necessarily understand risk management as much or risk metrics as much. So I try to keep it in a place where I can just affect it right then and there. I'm not limited to like a character count on Twitter. I can ping everybody. That's a certain role. I have a lot more control in Discord. But anyways, both of us, I know you were fighting on this as well. We were both long in the kind of like 60K area, like maybe lower 59s to 60K area. We get long,
Yep.
we deviate, and then it just pushes higher. And out of all the things I've seen for the last 6-7 years, and I was telling you this earlier, usually when you see a double bottom deviate, and this is where I'm running into issues with this move upwards. Usually when double bottoms deviate, they end up running, getting everyone's attention, and faking out. I've seen it 3 or 4 times over the last 6 years, or really over the last 3 years even, where we get this deviated move to the downside, basically stopping everybody out that was in, and then everyone's chasing it, and then they just basically, and to keep it simple, they just fuck everybody because everyone's like, oh, we're bullish, we've got the double bottom, everything looks great, everything's gonna go up. We're talking about we're talking about 70 and 74K and now 80 and 100, and everyone's got their eyes on the prize. Well, that's all great, but historically speaking, and look, I have no problem if we break out. That'd be great. I've got a lot of long-term spot. That's awesome. Would like to see that grow. But every time I've seen this kind of weird-looking double bottom deviated pattern, it fails pretty harshly. And honestly, we usually revert lower than the point where we deviated.
Yeah, this time feels different, just because everyone's expecting now us to go to the 40Ks from here, just because of the channel we've been in. But like, and that's why I think, and I've been saying since I believe it was like 60, I think I was saying this at 60,000, maybe 60,000 area. I said, I think we're going to come up, do a bull trap. Everyone's going to be like, oh shit, we're finally out of it. And then just come right back down. And also the other reason I say this for is if you pull up S&P 500, if you want to pull that up real quick.
Yeah, I got you.
It is,
you want me weekly, daily, or 4 hour? Or anything
go to
in
daily.
between? Okay, on the daily. Yeah.
So if you look at,
oh, go ahead.
yeah,
Sorry.
go ahead.
No, you're
I
good.
was gonna
Go
say,
ahead.
if you look at it on a daily, right now we're kind of we avoided bearish divs locally, but we're kind of overextended on XPX. And if you look at that top, the local top we put in July 17th, look at how we had that strong green candle, then we had a strong red candle, and then we went back up, formed bearish divs on the daily, and then we dumped. If you look at that, they look exactly alike right now.
Yeah.
Had the strong candle up, bad down, going up right now. And if you look at the divs, it actually looks like we could be forming it if we sweep the local high.
Yeah.
And obviously that just, we'll see where we're at the end of the week and stuff. But I've been saying since 5750, I believe that we're going to have a pullback on S&P at like 55, 56. I just think a cool off's coming. I think people are getting a little greedier here. I mean, you go look at fear and greed, and I think we're at greed right now, but we've poked around the extreme area for a little bit. That's why I think also Bitcoin, like if S&P 500 takes I wouldn't say that's a dump, but if we pull back to 5600, like obviously I don't think Bitcoin's going to continue up.
Yeah, I think
Uh,
Bitcoin would see a 64 to 61K. And back to your
yep.
point, if you open up the weekly real quick. So
Hmm.
earlier this morning, we actually didn't have them. Actually, I would say that we do because we have two equal highs. If you open up the weekly RSI, you actually have two equal highs right there, and you have
Yep.
higher highs on price. To me, that's divergence. I don't know how you read that. Also, considering that we're midway through the week and this candle looks like a spinning top, I think it'll turn red. I think those divergences will be there and confirmed, and that's how we'll get our correction to add to your daily analysis.
Yeah, absolutely. No, yeah, on the weekly, I see that completely. I mean, yeah, it just wouldn't shock me. Right now, everyone's talking about October, talking about all the good things, and I think things are great right now, but it just feels too
Feels
much
too
right
good
now.
to be true, for sure,
Yeah. And
especially with the
I'm not
deviation.
bearish. I don't want to be bearish. I'm just what I see. I say.
Yeah, I mean,
I just like to speak the truth.
totally there with you. And for those of you, just to show you real quick on what I'm talking about, and I showed this example this morning. Maybe not the greatest example. I don't think we're going to waterfall downwards, but this is what I mean with this deviated move. You have a nice double bottom here. On one of the last candles before we pump, we ended up deviating below support. Right now, this isn't as big of a deviation as we had. Even this is an example, too. You get this kind of double bottom looking thing. We ended up deviating below support here. Slight pump, dump, right? Same exact thing. Pump back up, dump all the way back down. And I don't think it's going to be like a crazy, like, I don't think we're going to go from, what is this, 58 or 59 all the way down to 42. I don't think something like that's coming. But what I think is a pullback to 64, possibly all the way down to 61. And honestly, I think we're going back to, oh, excuse me. I think we're going back to 60. I think 60 makes more sense. One that would also just flatten. That would flatten everybody. I don't know where you're positioned right now, but I feel like most people are sitting and celebrating, and they're about to be flattened.
I'm looking for a pullback to be like 61 to 62 area, and I think we go higher from there. But again, it just really like what is S&P 500 gonna do? Like what is stocks gonna do? Like I don't think Bitcoin follows it to a T, but like obviously if it starts dumping, Bitcoin's not gonna continue to go up. So I'm just curious on what the rest of the market's gonna do with it. But I mean, right now, low time frame wise, like I haven't been in a position for 24 hours. Yeah, like I told you, like yeah, I'm pretty patient. I like to take less trades because I feel like less trades that are more valid, you're way more consistency, and I have a higher hit rate with that. And yeah, but I think in the low time frame right here, I mean, we're continuing
It's
to
a little
hold above
confusing.
resistance.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we'll see a move back up to like low time frame 68.3, 69 area. I think that could come soon, but I think if that does do that, it's probably the last move up.
Yeah,
And
like a
probably,
last impulse. Plus, I don't know. Do you look at the dollar at all?
I did. I used to. I haven't looked at it in a long time, to be honest with you.
So the dollar's broken out today. Not a huge resistance, but something smaller. It's 103.5. An area I was looking at. The daily looks very, very strong. No issues. The 4 hour, I guess the 4 hour does have some divergence, so that could be some issue. But the 4 hour has been consolidating upwards. So probably one more pullback than continuing up. I think if S&P drops like we think it will, you're looking at $105 DXY easily. There's no weakness on the daily or weekly. A 4 hour, yeah, okay, maybe we get a decent little pullback, but nothing out of the ordinary in that regard. So that would assist, your S&P dump, Bitcoin correction down to maybe 61. Anywhere between 64 and 61 is where my target is as well. And I know everyone's been calling me crazy for it too. I'm like, no, I don't think you understand. Like, this is something I've seen in the past. So
Yeah, and I really, I mean, I think when I talk about S&P coming back to, I'm talking about putting another higher low in. Like I don't think the time for a correction is here just yet, but I do think it's close. But yeah, I mean, I stand by my projection, which was about like I want to say like 4 months ago, 5 months ago. That I think we'll see a 6,200 S&P, and then if something crazy happens, 7K. But that's like I that would something would have to really change. But yeah, I also like right now with crypto, I'm wondering if we're pricing in a Trump win. I don't mean to get political on it, but
Oh no,
like,
dude, you can say whatever you want. It doesn't matter to me. I've got guns and Rottweilers, so everybody knows what side I'm on. Unfortunately.
I'm just curious about it because have you seen those charts getting thrown around? That it's like kind of following as Trump's odds are going up.
Yeah, I've
And it's
noticed
just
that.
interesting. It's
So
interesting
I don't
'cause
know
it's
if
like,
you remember
yeah.
this. The day that Trump was shot at, like after
Oh
he
yeah.
got up and did his whole thing, the market went up like crazy. Like the market
Yeah.
loved it. They were like, "Wait, he's alive," and it pumped. I gotta find. That was in
I was
God,
in a
when was
short
that?
when
That
that
was
happened.
in. Oh God. Well, you would have been on the right side if that guy didn't miss. But I
I'm
think
okay
that
with losing
was
money.
that was in I think that was in August. No, it was pre-August. It was pre. When was that? That was in July, August area, I think.
It's funny though how
I can't remember, but I
I'm
just know the
not
market
joking.
pumped right after. Like
Yeah, it was
legitimately
nuts.
gets up, does his thing, and the market went up like 5% on a Saturday too, of all days. Pretty
Yeah,
wild.
it was nuts. Yeah, I just wonder that because like I mean just think about everything. Like everything always gets priced in, and
Yeah.
then when it finally happens, then okay, we come back to life. Like that's what I'm wondering right now is like, are we pricing that in? We are close to it. It also would line up with what we talked about before we got on. Is I like I said I think December will be like a normal sell off, how it usually is, end of the year sell off,
Yeah.
and it would line up with all that. So I'm curious how that is and all that, but yeah, I think this pump is legit, but I just don't know how much legs we have to go. Like, can we
He's
reach all
talking
time highs?
like macro wise, like on
Yeah,
for Bitcoin.
for Bitcoin too. I do think this pump is the most legit pump that we've had.
Yeah.
Uh, and technically we have a breakout right now. It's just, do we have the legs to keep going? That's what I'm wondering.
Yeah. I've kind of said the same. It's been tough. I see. I'm like you. I wonder if they're pricing in a Trump victory, and primarily because have you seen the betting odds at all?
Dude, it's nuts.
So he's just winning. Like I think he's up by like 8% right now on the betting odds stuff. So not really sure how accurate all of that is, but all of the betting odds that I've seen, there's one that has a lot of. I know there's one that's very very accurate in predicting. I think it's been right about the last couple different presidents, and yeah, it has him up by like 8, 9, almost 10%, which is pretty
Yeah.
wild. So
Did
you
you see
might be
the
right about it
cookie one?
pricing in. What'd you say?
The cookie one? I can't remember where it is. It's one of the states. They do this cookie store does it, and they have like an 85% hit rate. And it's
Really?
like, yeah, of predicting who. Like you come in and there's three cookies, and you choose what cookie you want, and that's how they do the votes off of it. And it's been pretty accurate. It's funny. It's just funny how there's so many
Are
different
they?
things.
What did the cookie store say?
I haven't looked at it in a while, but the last time I checked, it was like 3,000 cookies for Trump, like 1,000 for Kamala, and then like 500 for the independent or something like that. Like, and so
Wow.
I never saw the end results. I forgot what the name of the store is, and all
Do you
that,
know
but
like what
yeah,
part
it was fun.
of like the country that's in? By any
I
chance?
think it was either Georgia or Ohio. It was a store somewhere, one of those. Can't remember
Okay.
what it was though. I'm sure if you Google it, probably you can
Yeah,
find it.
yeah. I was just wondering, like, is it in like California or like Texas, where it's like blatantly obvious? You know what I mean? But
I
yeah.
think it was in a swing state, is what I would say.
Okay. All
I'm
right. That
pretty sure
makes
it
a
was.
little bit more sense. Okay, that could have some validity. Yeah, there's a lot of what's shocking me, even though the betting odds are going up, there are a ton of people on my street that have just recently put up Kamala banners and stuff, which it's all good for them. But it's just kind of crazy. I'm seeing them pop up everywhere, but the betting odds are still like massively favoring Trump. No, I wouldn't say massive, but well, a 10% lead is pretty
Yeah,
big.
it's
So yeah,
pretty
I'd say
big.
they're
Yeah.
massively favoring Trump, and I don't know. Maybe there's just like a lot of closeted people that are they just don't want like a bad rep, or to be called out. I'm not really sure. Yeah, even someone said even Joe Biden hates her. Yeah, I've seen that. Joe Biden has been scheduling stuff while she's doing stuff to get people to stop watching her. I think. Who really knows?
But yeah, so we'll see on Bitcoin, man. You know, and it's like I said to you too, is like, are we close to the recession, or is this going to continue to be talked about? You know, it's obviously, and then also they're talking about rate cuts next month, about possibly doing no cut. You know, so that's interesting as well.
Yeah, I actually
Um,
have a different opinion on rate cuts. I think a lot of people think the market will crash. So we've actually seen like a structure shift when rates went up. The S&P. Hold on, I got a dog chewing. Hey, quit that! Sorry, I have a dog chewing. There's like carpet on the stairs, and he's going crazy. So S&P, and I'll just pull up the S&P real quick. So we had rate increases like right in what was that, 2021, almost 2022. Let me pull up the rate. There it is. So rates came. Oh, excuse me. I guess rates stayed flat, then started coming up near the bottom. Then we kind of remained flat. I guess we've. All right, this is something that I haven't seen. I read this chart wrong. No, we started coming up. Okay, so we had a little bit of a lead, right? We started coming up, market dropped, kind of remained flat or in this consolidation. Went up a little bit more, so lead again, drop again. And now that they've remained flat and going down, now we're going back up, which has not been the same trend for the last 15 years. So I'm wondering, will rate cuts not only assist the economy because now people can borrow money once again, and you know, which is also funny because rates have never been like rates 10, 15 years ago were double what they are now, but that's another discussion for another day. But in my opinion, the economy does well when people are able to borrow money at lower rates. So it's because businesses can expand, they can hire more people, buy more supplies, buy better equipment to do whatever they need to do. There's obviously stimulation going there. So I'm wondering, will rates or cutting rates assist in our kind of flat, stagnant economy, plus give people the ability to, I guess, take on loans again and maybe do whatever they want. But you could, I'm not sure how a loan would work with investing in crypto, but because I've never looked at that before, but it is a thought.
yeah, I also just wonder about stagflation and like all this stuff. There's just so many different factors right now. It's insane. I do think that cutting, people tend to get bullish right away, and then eventually it's like, oh shit moment, and it comes down. But that's also if we continue to cut. Like if we continue to cut at 0.25, like that's not too bad. But like if we do like a point 0.5 again or a 0.75, it could get ugly. And I don't know. I mean, I'm not the most expert person on macro. I've learned a lot from one of my buddies who's crazy and annoys the crap out of me at times, but I love him at the same time. But he's on Twitter too. He's at Brett. I think I can't remember what his Twitter is his handle, but anyway, shout out to him. He's great. He's really good at macro, but you know, macro traders are different. You know, they see it way ahead of everyone else, and it could take a year or two before it plays out. And
Yeah, that's the other
yeah,
thing is you might be wrong by a year or two, and you could miss out on a lot.
yeah, and I that's why I try to like I just trade what I see, you know, and I try to be cautious once it starts to get to a point where it's like, okay, we're exceeding pretty high at this point. It's like, okay, you can't go wrong taking a little profits here and stuff like that. I mean, I've moved some of my stock bags and I'm about 30% cash right now, and I'm just chilling. And if it keeps going up higher, great, and if it dumps, great. I'm cool with whatever happens.
Yeah, because you got some. So you do have longer term investments then.
Oh yeah, yeah. I've got a lot of long term and a lot of things I've been getting into right now. I sold a bunch of 2020 stocks just because it was, like I said, it's time. I thought it was good to have some money sidelined in case, and then also just to have profits. But yeah, no, recently I've been buying a lot of Boeing, um, Hood, Google, Intel. I'm buying the ones that are bloody. You know, like Nvidia. Nvidia was my favorite one. I'd love to talk about it. But it was my favorite. It was my
It's
favorite
so
stock
easy
of
to
the
do
year.
well when it only goes up.
Dude, the crazy thing is, I bought it in 2018, I think, is what it was. I held it all the way until 139. I sold it at 139. It topped at
Wow.
141, and then I set an order for $100. And I just waited. I got called crazy for calling for $100 when I sold at 139, and
Yeah.
sat there and waited. And then we had the Bloody Monday on in August, early August, and it opened up at $92. So my entry was
Wow.
literally $92. It was perfect. It couldn't have worked out better.
That's awesome. Yeah, I know a lot of people that have been making a shit ton off Nvidia. I have a friend that's up. I what's catching me off guard a little bit. I forgot that there was a stock split. So,
Oh yeah.
so guys, if you're wondering, like, what is he talking about? There was a 10-for-1 stock split. That's why the math is a little off. But yeah,
Yeah.
Nvidia's been
So
great, been
I
leading
actually
the.
bought it at 130, and then I sold it at 139. But technically, I sold it at 1390. Yeah,
Yeah,
because
that's
10-1.
10x on a major company is
That
pretty crazy.
Dude, I sold. It was after Juneteenth. It was Wednesday. The stock market was closed, but it was open overseas, and I saw the video still pumping. And I was sitting there all day just thinking about it, and I was like, you know what, fuck it, I'm gonna sell it in the morning. And I sold it, and ended up being the top. And then now look, we're basically back at the top.
That's awesome. Yeah, I've noticed whenever my gut tells me to do something, I usually, well, not all the time, but it's generally right. If it's like, hey, this isn't gonna work out, just get out. Usually I do, and then, bam, it ends up the trade ended up not working out. Or, if I'm in a profitable trade, I'm like, I don't know, I just feel like I should sell, and just that be it. And lo and behold, that could be near the top, not necessarily the top, but getting closer and closer to exhaustion, especially when I'm looking at all those indications. Because it's easy to be hopeful and it's easy to look for things that you like to look at. And then when you see like a couple things like, okay, maybe we're overextended a little bit, but this looks like that and that looks fine. Well, that one indication, or those, not necessarily one indication, but those couple different indications could mean those could be your biggest indication. You're just ignoring them because you're, seeing your profits and getting a big head and ego and whatever. So I've definitely
Yeah.
been there and done that with the whole trading ego thing. But it's always
It's
nice
it's
when,
it's hard too because like look at the RSI in the video. Like, sorry, I didn't
yeah,
interrupt you.
no, you're
You see
fine.
that, and the bearish divs, like, it's hard to ignore that. I mean, it's so clear as day on your chart right now. Like,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
then if you look at it some more, we have bullish dips. Like that pullback to $92, we formed bullish, and then the
yeah.
next pullback we formed bullish. Like, and that's on the weekly. Obviously, you're going to get a solid move on the weekly when that happens.
Yeah, and I think that
But
move is probably played out, especially if this one closes red, and this kind of lines up with the view that both of us had for the S&P, kind of pulling back, confluence at the XY and everything. So if Nvidia pulls back, and I know you may or may not be able to see it, we could be getting an ascending triangle here, right?
yeah.
Big ass ascending
Oh, wow.
triangle could be great, kind of another big bull flag that will need to continue higher. I mean, you look at some of these moves on Nvidia, and that's what's been happening, right? It's the same thing for Bitcoin, and I'm just going to load up Bitcoin. Bitcoin's in a gigantic bull flag right now that hopefully breaks out. Again, hopefully. We're not at that point yet. We need a break. For me, it's my line in the sand is 68.5 would put us in a kind of new uptrend, kind of get us out of this downward consolidation. It's here. You guys can see on my diagonals here. That changes structure. So gigantic bull flag here. Nvidia has a gigantic bull flag. The S&P, yes, you could argue even if we get a pullback, to me we're still just consolidating upwards and solving divergences back from March of 2024, which is crazy to say because prices continued higher. But you can technically consolidate sideways and up, just like you can consolidate sideways and down.
I think the best thing for Bitcoin right now is for S&P 500 just to go sideways for a while.
Yeah, I
Because
agree.
what I've noticed is when stock market's fun, crypto's kind of boring. When crypto's fun, the stock market's boring. I'm not saying that people just go back and forth, but it just tends to go that way. So I would love to see S&P just chill out for a while.
Yeah, I think there's not enough kind of like money rotating around, and yet at least there's still a lot of people that are in money market funds that are not injecting capital yet. They're starting to, but not quite. I know we talked
That's
a little
what
bit
a lot of
about
people
that
don't
earlier.
realize. There's so much money sidelined still.
Yeah, so it's over $6 trillion the last time I checked. It's crazy. Yeah, I mean, just me personally, like, I mean, I have a lot of this is going towards whatever house we end up buying, but I have basically half the house I want to pay for sitting in a market or a money market fund. Not saying that, you know, I'm obviously not going to take that money and put it into crypto or stocks, but that's just one example of there's a ton of people like my brother who doesn't, you know, he does well for himself, but he's not making a ton of money. He and his wife just put everything in like money market just to sit on it. Rates have been good. They're going to end up putting that into real estate or, you know, maybe some into crypto or maybe some into the stock market. They're going to reinvest that money in other places. They're smart, you know, they're smart people. So even if it's a couple $1,000s to hundreds of thousands to a couple $1 million, there's a ton of money sitting on the sideline. That's really been the driver for the last, in my opinion, the last 2 years.
Yeah, but then you have Buffett selling at an all-time high, and that scares people.
Yeah, I would agree with, yeah. But that could just be because he's getting old as shit. Plus, he's
Speaking
got,
of scaring people. Yesterday, everyone was getting scared about Elon moving his Tesla Bitcoin. Everyone was freaking out.
oh, I didn't see that. That's crazy.
Oh yeah, he moved 700 million into a different wallet, and he was like, I guess he was spreading it out. But yeah, no, I mean, remember the last time they sold a Bitcoin in like I think it was like literally like 2 minutes, dumped $5,000 when it
Yeah.
came out on the earnings.
Yeah, I remember that. I do.
That was nuts.
But dude, I have to go and train the dogs while it's still light out. I've got to go do. I have to. So for those of you watching, I told him this earlier. I told Cole this earlier. The smaller dog or the younger dog, he's got a lot of leash reactivity. He, like, freaks out when he sees other dogs when he's on the leash. The only way to teach him to stop doing that is to. I mean, there's multiple different ways, but I have to be outside when there's other dogs outside, and everyone on my street just got home. They're walking their dogs, so I got to go take advantage of that now. But Cole, dude, it was nice talking to you. Awesome information. Sorry we didn't get as far into lower time frame trading, but I'd love to have you back on where we can. I know we're kind of in a weird spot right now, so it's hard to get that analysis down.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I appreciate you having me on. It was fun, and yeah, let's do it again for sure, and we get more into low time frames.
Yeah. Maybe we can just dedicate a whole stream to it. I know we did a lot of macro stuff. A lot of people really do like the macro stuff because a lot of people got all that spot and they're always concerned and waiting for that next big drop to load up. But yeah, man, I've got to get out of here. For all of you guys, always remember, be patient.